Hey guys, I'm not sure what this, how to start a video like this. It's a very awkward video to start and do, but I feel like I should. That probably doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna, probably gonna smoke throughout this whole thing so I get a little bit less tense. So let's do that. Starting that usually just tastes gross. Or literally like burnt paper, but that tastes like fucking broccoli. That was weird. So, I really don't know how to start this. It's so fucking awkward. So I feel like, because I'm poor and can't afford, therapy, even if I couldn't afford the medication on top of that I'd probably really need. So, honestly, mentally, I'm having a really bad night, and, I just feel like maybe talking about, the shit I struggle with or didn't know was real or legitimate or could happen would, hopefully maybe at one point even help, one human being a little bit and all. So I'm gonna talk about it. Some taboo shit that'll probably honestly get this video taken down and, my YouTube channel deleted, but it's worth it, I guess. And also, let's say, worst case scenario, I were to do this act, I feel like you would at least need some, precaution. For the past year or so, I'd say a little over a year now, I've had what people call intrusive thoughts of suicide every single day for over a year now. The thing is, I don't want to die. Well, some days I do, but on a whole, I do not want to die. I have kids. I want to see them grow up. I don't want to be the mom who, left my kids wondering, why, just why about many things. But it is something I have heavily, heavily struggled with the past year. And the part about it is, the worst thing about dealing with it is that not only does nobody notice, but even when you tell people, they just don't give a fuck. Because it's normal to want to die, it's normal to not want to live. I have never dealt with it this long to where I've had thoughts for this long, and it's getting to a point where it's scary sometimes. Some days are okay, some days are fine, and other days it's just I feel like I'm literally just making it through the day the best I can, but my best is shitty, so then I harp on myself about that. You could have done more, you're so stupid, just I have a very big problem with super negative statements towards myself and about myself, which obviously will only make things worse. And I just kind of want to I don't know, give the people who do know me, give the people who have been subscribed to me for a while some insight maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they even want it. And anyone who's not subscribed to me already, like I said, hopefully just even talking about this can help maybe someone realize something or deal with something or think about something that they normally wouldn't. I don't know. I wish I could have talked to someone about this when the problem was young and a little infant, as opposed to being 27 years old, 2 kids, fucking just feeling I have nothing accomplished in life. I'm gonna try not to cry in this video. So the first time I really thought about not living anymore, I was 8 or 9 years old, and I remember hating my body, and I don't know where that came from, because I said it to myself before honestly anyone said it to me. If anything, before this, I had heard that my head was too big for my body, because I was just tall and skinny. I was a tall skinny kid, and then suddenly I suffered from sexual abuse, assault, I don't know what you call it. When I was 9 and 10, I had issues with someone who was unfortunately very close to me, and I was sexually assaulted in my bed for a full year, and then that person proceeded to be very, very, very vile to me, just very mean to me. Once it stopped, socially, that person became someone I was almost fearful of in public. or in any social setting. And that's really when like I got very, very different. And like at the time I didn't feel that different. I was just like, well, that was weird, because I was like fucking 10 years old. And I was like, I guess I'll just say nothing. Like, I don't know, like I guess that's what you do. And I wish I would have said something. Like I said, try not to cry. I don't want, that's like not the vibe I'm trying to give. I've always had like body issues, and I don't, like, I know my mom's probably gonna watch this, and we talked about some of this stuff recently. Like, I actually told someone else, like, besides like my like baby daddy boyfriend situation. He knows about a lot of this stuff. That's a whole fucking issue on its own, unfortunately. But I recently talked to my mom about this stuff finally after like a fucking year, because I'm like kind of lost on what to do. But honestly, I think hearing my mom talk so negatively about herself influenced me to start being like, well, if she's criticizing her body, like if she thinks this kind of thing is bad and this kind of thing is bad, well, I kind of have that and I kind of have that. Like, am I disgusting? And then like the weight gain started. Like, I just kind of started spiraling after that year of like sexual abuse, assault, whatever you want to call it. And my mom, I know she had like good intentions, but she started doing things that like you don't do with like a chubby, potentially like obese kid. Like, I wasn't obese, but like I probably was well on my way. But she started hiding like the sweets and stuff, and it was just like, to a kid, that kind of stuff doesn't click. They're not like, oh, I'm fat, like eat less fucking cookies, fat ass. Like, it doesn't work like that. So like it fucks with your head. And when I was like 16-ish, my parents split up when I was like 14, like when I'm 15, and then I had to move finally, like out of the house that I lived in since I was like 9. I begged and pleaded with my dad to let me do online school, because I was just like so depressed. I did not want to go to school anymore. I was like, I'll do school, but like please don't make me actually go to a school. And we made a deal that like I could do it, but as soon as I like, if I ever get an F, like I have to go back to regular school, which like that's fair, that's fucking reasonable. And which ended up happening for my senior year. I did get end up having to go back to high school, which that was a whole fucking that was a whole fucking other thing. In that year, I discovered Tumblr, which was the beginning of something very, very bad for me, and I didn't know it at the time. When I first went on Tumblr, I was like, alright, well, it seems like, because, okay, just to give context, in this time, Tumblr was like, it was like a website that you didn't really like talk about. It was just like you were on it or you weren't, and you kept your mouth shut. It's so weird how it was, but I go on it, and before I know it, somehow I fell into this weird rabbit hole of just like thinspo, which is like thin inspiration shit, like on some of the most unhealthy shit you could see on the internet. And I was like, well, fuck, because I wasn't that overweight. Like, honestly, I probably weigh about the same now as I did then. I did not like my body, and it was like still coming out of the era where girls were like stick thin, like low-rise jeans, like not an ounce of fat on your body, like the curvy thing wasn't like a thing yet. It was like still coming out of that time. And so that's when I aspired. Like, it got to a point within just a mere few weeks of me being basically isolated by choice at 16. Because, okay, the thing is, my dad's a truck driver. He always has been. So like even at that time, he'd be gone sometimes during the week for like 2 days at a time. It got to a point where I was like desiring to see bones on my body. Like, I wanted to be that skinny that like when I looked at my BMI, it was like right below like the where the underweight part, like bracket starts. I wanted to be like a couple points below that, and I don't even know why. Like, growing up, I didn't like my body. That's okay, normal, kind of, I think, and for most girls. But suddenly, within just a few weeks, I was like spending all day just scrolling Tumblr and just like wanting to be unhealthily thin, to the point where some days I would eat 100 calories, 200 calories. I did the ABC diet at the time, which was so fucking, it's kind of scary to think back on that I was doing this at 16 and like didn't tell anybody. But it was like one day you'd eat 300 calories, the next day 200, the next day 100, and then you would skip a day of eating and then like do that again, like over and over. And I was also me and one of my friends who was like also overweight. She was like shorter than me and weighed like 20 pounds more than me, so she was like heftier than me. Like, no shade, but like that was just the reality of it. And there was like a gym at the apartments I lived at, and so like when she got off school we would go and work out, and it was like super healthy at first. And then for me, I got to the point where I was eating how I was barely eating at all, and I would work out in the morning, like the same amount I would work out when I worked out with my friend, and then not tell her. And later in the day when she got off school, I would go to the gym with her again. So I was working out twice a day, burning like probably like 800 to 1,000 calories a day at like working out, and then not eating for shit. I got to the point where I was, okay, so I'm like 5'11", right? So I got to the point where I was like 133, which is like, for my height, that's kind of like, it's pretty fucking skinny. Like, it's really fucking skinny, and it's kind of scary looking. I remember actually seeing my mom once, because I didn't live with her at the time or see her much, and she took me out to breakfast or something. I remember I barely ate anything. I got like the lowest calorie thing I could find, and then I just remember her looking at my hands because they were so bony, and she was just like, you are losing too much weight. And that was like the first person who'd really said anything to me about it, but I was like, you're crazy, like fuck you, I'm fine. And it was like, it was mentally hard for me because I have really wide hips naturally, so like even at my thinnest I was still not like a smaller size really, because I went one size down and that was it. Like, I could not get my actual pant size down, and it fucking frustrated me. Like, my top was smaller. Like, I went from, like, an XL to, like, a medium. And then, but my pant size, I went from a 12 to a 10. And the 10, even almost, like, on the verge of underweight, like, I still was at a 10. Because my hips are so wide. But mentally, like, I couldn't understand that, like, you just have wide hips, bitch. Because I was 16, and so I thought I just need to lose more weight, and I remember like once every 2 days I'd eat like a sandwich, maybe, and sometimes I would aim, because I'd weigh myself at the very beginning of the day, right, and so I would set goals sometimes, like like this is like the peak, I would consider this the peak, or at least a peak. I would aim to weigh less at the end of the day than I started. So I wouldn't eat anything all day. And of course with anything, like when you starve yourself, at some point you're gonna crack. So I would snack on something, like, and everything I was buying at this point wasn't even high calorie. It was like the lowest calorie food you could fucking imagine. It was like these rice pop things. They were like cheddar, and they were like rice cakes, like, but like they weren't completely shitty. Sometimes I'd eat like a few of those and feel so guilty and literally just like work out, even though I'd already worked out twice at the gym that day. I hadn't eaten anything except that, and I'd work out and stay up who knows how long sometimes until I saw the number on the scale go down. I'd just be like, working out, go weigh myself, like just over and over and over. Like, it was obsessive, and no one fucking knew. And it was really fucking unhealthy, and like looking back, that's really fucking scary, because normally by the end of the day you're gonna, like, if you're a normal person who eats normal, like somewhat normally, you're gonna weigh more at the end of the day than you fucking started, and that's completely normal. Like, that is a normal person. I was measuring my like whole body, every body part, just like around my arms, just around like my neck, like every part, just like hoping to see the numbers go down. I'd do it every single Saturday, and I was just so obsessed. And I started passing out in the shower, If I got my shower too hot, and would be like the steam would get to me, and I would literally like pass out, to the point where it was happening like once a week, which can't be healthy. And then it got to a point where it was a little bit just unbearable, and I let myself eat. I let myself eat finally, after like 6 months of just this starvation I was putting myself through, like this mind fuck I did to myself, just constantly comparing myself to, like, it wasn't just a food thing, it was like just every girl I saw was like, what does she have that I don't, like what makes her better than me? And it just, I wish I could go back and slap myself, because I basically did this to myself. Like, I put myself in this weird mindset, and ever since I developed it, I cannot get out of it. And it's really hard, and it's really fucking, like, I feel like I'm in a constant mind fuck. I've always compared myself to everybody, but then when it comes to, like, physical traits, I feel so inadequate in every way possible, like, at all times. And like, despite what like Instagram might make you think, like, I really am like insecure as fuck. No, like 101% of the time, let's be real. And like, low self-esteem can obviously lead you to be with people who are not always the fucking best for you. And make you settle for people who aren't ready or willing to treat you right. Recently, because of this year, I got cheated on, like, pretty regularly. As pathetic as that may sound to, like, other people, I still have, like, I'm not dealing with it well. I'm still dealing with it. Still, like, I found out in the very beginning of the year almost, and I have not mentally recovered, if I'm being honest. I've been cheated on before, but for some reason this year, just, I don't know, just something in me is just not coping well. And I don't know if it's the fact that I was already suffering with these thoughts beforehand, or if I'm just susceptible to, like, this kind of feeling or thoughts. I don't know, but I'm just really not dealing with it well. And all these feelings of, like, wanting to die, like, feelings of inadequacy, is just like, on top of this, it's just like, with cheating, it's like, it's been very overwhelming, to say the least. It's taken up so much of my time, just like spiraling mentally, just like wanting to know everything that was done to me, like going back and forth with this person, just like wanting things to work out, even though, like, it's like, even though after everything I'm like still the only one like willing to try to like work anything out. It's just like, it's like making me go fucking crazy. Like I said, some days I'm good, but other days it's like this, and I'm just like, I'm on the verge of crying, but I will not cry. I refuse to cry on camera again. I've been blaming my like bad mood on like politics and buying like on social media and shit, but it's just like, this has been like the real cause of just like my fucking mental distraction, and that's what I really want to get into. I know, all this build up just for this part. But disassociation, I honestly, when I've heard people talk about it in the past, it's been in relation to like, what's that called? They don't call it multiple personality disorder anymore. It's called something else. I can't remember, but basically that, and whatever the new term is. I've heard in relation with that, and I kind of didn't believe it existed, honestly, because I'm just someone who doesn't necessarily fully believe that like people can have multiple personalities, but maybe I'm just wrong. But if you don't know what it is, it's essentially when you are going through something that triggers like something in your brain to essentially like shut down and protect itself, and you zone out, like, in a way that's, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, so dissociation is a way that we sometimes cope with too much stress. So when our thoughts and feelings become overwhelming, we sometimes have this ability to temporarily disconnect from ourselves and the world. It's our mind's way of protecting us from an intensely negative experience. You might not be aware that you're dissociating. You may just have the experience of having a blackout, of losing time, or have suddenly finding yourself in a strange place. And to other people, you'll appear kind of spaced out, or you may have a glazed look on your face. It serves a very protective function. But when the environment is no longer traumatic, it becomes dysfunctional because it prevents you from processing what has happened and moving on. It's particularly common if you have a tendency to develop physical symptoms instead of psychological symptoms in response to stress.
Like, I've caught myself this year, and it's gonna make me sound like a fucking crazy person, but literally sometimes I'll just like snap back into it and I'm staring at a wall because I'll be thinking in depth about something that I saw or know about, or just very mentally bad like thoughts, and before I know it, my mind's just like in a world, but my body's just like sitting there. And like I kind of forget that I have a body because my thoughts are so just overwhelming me. Well, it's kind of scary, but like sometimes it's happened like 30 minutes at a time. And like I said, I didn't believe in it before because of, I guess maybe I was just being like skeptical because of what it's on, like one of the biggest things it's associated with. But then once I realized, hey, this is what I think I'm doing, like I think this is what's happening to me, I realized throughout my life there have been times where this kind of disassociation thing happens, but it's never been consistent in my life like it has this year. It's been tripping me out lately to really just in depth think about certain things that led to certain things in my life. Like there's nothing I can do to go back and fix it, obviously. I'm just single parent life is never what I intended. Being cheated on for as long as I've been cheated on for is not what I intended. Like, just being this like unestablished in my life is not ever what I intended or thought would happen to me. I don't like to use like happened to me because like I'm not victimizing myself because like I made a lot of choices that were just fucking stupid because I wanted to believe like people were better than they were. Still, I should have just like tried to reason a little more with myself. I'm just struggling, and I just feel like I need someone to talk to because I don't fucking have any friends. And I can't afford therapy. Not like the amount I would need. So I don't know, I just want to let anyone know if they've dealt with anything similar. I don't know, it's kind of normal to some people, and hopefully things will someday be okay. That's what I keep telling myself, but it seems like things just keep getting worse. I'm trying to just like hold in there, mainly for my kids. Like I hate when people use that as an out, but it's just kind of true. Like I would never want to make them feel abandoned by me because I couldn't just like figure my shit out. And so now that it's been like a literal year of me having these horrible, really frustrating and at times very like overwhelming feelings and thoughts, I've thought about why is this like how my brain is like working? Why is this what my life is as of right now? Because I've suffered with depression in the past, but like it's never lasted this long, like where I've had thoughts like this, and like talking about this stuff and admitting it out loud on camera, and like knowing I'm gonna post this for like people I know or don't know to see. Like I'm so nervous. If it persists any longer than it already has, like I'm fully aware I should probably go do something about it or try to, but I just don't have much faith in I don't know, human beings, I guess. I just feel like other humans can't fix me. Like, I don't know. I'm just very pessimistic about it, and maybe that's part of my problem. But, I don't know what this video is, and if you've even watched to this point, like, thank you, I guess. And I'll try not to, like, do this again, or maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see how this is received. I feel like this could come off so random and weird and just fucking depressing, but, yeah. I'm gonna go now. I need to go to bed because I've wasted so much time tonight just like being in my own fucking like world mentally and disassociating, which made me want to talk about it and the possible things that might have like led me to this point where it's like happening so frequently. I don't know. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have ever had anything that I've talked about happen to you, or just tell me anything that's happened to you in general. I'd love to talk and get to know you guys. Like I said, I don't have any friends. Let's be friends.